Hopefully we can make this live work. But I'm going to be asking a question today. Obviously, as time is progressing, the case against Hunter Biden, the son of the current commander-in-chief, does seem to be getting stronger, with the authorities suggesting that they may now have enough to charge Hunter Biden with some form of fraud. So the question I'm asking today is a simple one. Does Hunter Biden, is Hunter Biden hurting his dad? Do you believe any of this will trickle down to the father? Now keep in mind, dad has the ability to pardon his son, just like Trump would have had the ability to pardon any of his family members. And in addition to that, he is also in control, meaning Joe Biden, of the DOJ and other assets that might go after Hunter Biden. Now, he's not supposed to use that, and that could lead to other issues if he does. But behind the scenes, he is in charge of these groups that would be in charge, be responsible for going after his son. So that's the first question I want to ask is, do you believe Hunter Biden is hurting his dad at all? Now, I'm going to give you my spiel in regards to whether Hunter Biden will ultimately be brought to justice for the crimes he's alleged of committing. Well, from my own standpoint, if I had to guess, I believe Hunter Biden is guilty. Yeah, I believe that. I'm not going to mince words on that. I believe where there's smoke, there's fire. But what about being brought to justice? No, I do not. I believe the goal of Hunter Biden will be very similar to the goal of a lot of other folks who are being charged. Draw it out in court as long as you can, and most likely on his way out, Biden would pardon his son. I mean, Joe Biden is 80 years old next month. He'll be 80 next month. If he serves his entire presidency, one term, he'll be 82. Somehow, some way he ends up serving 2 terms, he'll be 86. He doesn't give a shit about how you feel if he pardons his child. So Biden is going to pardon Hunter Biden on the way out if this charge comes to fruition. So the point I'm trying to make is no matter what happens, the most damage it can do is by word of mouth. Hunter is not going to serve any time. Biden's going to pardon his son, you would pardon your child, and your parents would pardon you. No one's going to let their child go down for financial crime if all they need to do is sign a damn piece of paper. Let's be honest about that. You can give me your entire spiel about how morally correct you are or how much you believe in not breaking the law and all of that shit. That's fine. But if you could simply sign a piece of paper and get your child freedom, as opposed to them spending the rest of your natural life in prison, unless someone's life was taken or someone was assaulted sexually, you're probably going to do it. So it is what it is. I believe that Hunter Biden, while probably guilty of some crimes, is not going to serve a single day in jail. But I want to ask you folks, as voters, what do you think? Do you think that this matters on his father at all? Does it make a difference how you feel about Joe Biden based on what they're accusing his son of? And I understand phrases like 10% to the big guy and what that allegedly involves. But I want to get your opinion on it. And here is a topic, yours truly, I don't ban, I don't block, I don't censor, but I also don't pretend to be the know-it-all like you might face in other lives or on other channels. This is an area where I don't have any problem being educated because I don't know the full scope of what they're going after Hunter Biden on. I do understand he was pretty much getting a ridiculous sum of money from the Ukrainians for a job he had no experience in whatsoever. I understand he was using his father's name recognition, Senator Joe Biden, Vice President Joe Biden, and getting paid from it. But there's obviously more. So I will go to the box. You guys let me know, what do you think as a voter? If it came down to Trump versus Biden, You may like Trump for the economy and all sorts of other issues. You thought Trump was doing well with the country. But would this issue with his son, meaning Joe Biden, would this issue mean anything to you at all? That's what we're asking about. We're asking what the issues that Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, is going through, will that affect your vote for president at all, knowing that Hunter Biden is not even running for any office at all? Twisted. Back to the program. Good afternoon. Twisted, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Does what's going on with Hunter Biden, would that affect your choice of presidential candidate at all?
I mean, no, my choice is set. But as to your original question, does it affect Biden? Yes, it
Yeah.
absolutely does. Because remember, they shared a bank account. So when you're talking about financial troubles, financial crimes, does it implicate Biden? I don't know, but it's definitely going to be a problem for him.
Okay. Do you believe Hunter Biden, better yet, Joe Biden is knowingly guilty? Let's say Hunter Biden has been involved in something. Do you believe his dad knew he was involved in it and either looked the other way or actively participated in it?
Possibly. I can't say for
Right,
sure one way or another. I don't have all the evidence, and so I don't like to make determinations based on speculation. So
right, right.
it's possible. One second.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the question is when you look at how long Joe Biden has been a politician in America on the national level, this didn't pay out a hell of a lot of money, even to Hunter Biden. You kind of wonder why would Joe Biden get involved in this? It didn't pay out a lot of money.
I'm sorry, you have to repeat that. One of my employees was asking me a question.
No, okay. I said when you look at how long President Biden has been in politics on the national stage, from a congressperson to a senator to vice president and now president, this particular issue with Hunter Biden, it really didn't pay out a hell of a lot of money for him to get involved in something like this.
Didn't it though? I mean, if we look at Biden's been in politics for 50 years, right? How, and I would say
Right.
this about any politician, left or right, doesn't matter. How do they become millionaires from being politicians?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, when you first of all, lobbyists, donations, and things. I mean, like for instance, if we brought up Trump, how many people are just regularly giving him money, just freely giving him money? It's impossible not to become a millionaire when people are
uh,
just
I,
handing you their money.
I think it's quite possible not to become a millionaire. But I think anybody that went into politics and came out with nothing and came out a multimillionaire, there's a lot of questions there. And I would suggest that we investigate every politician who does that. Every
How
politician.
could you? Yeah, but how could you be a politician on the national stage for anywhere near as long as Biden and not become a millionaire unless you're giving the money away?
Well, where's he getting all that money from? They don't make that
I
money. They
just
make
told you.
$150,000 a year.
Yeah, yeah,
But
but
that's
you get to keep a certain amount of your campaign donations. You got lobbies. I mean, money is coming at you right and left.
right, right. I get it. I get it. But we also have one of Hunter's business partners who confirmed about some of those emails that Joe Biden was indeed the big guy. So now again, is he 100% on the level? I don't know. I don't have all the evidence. We can talk about it, and I'm happy to talk about it. But yes, this
Right.
does actually affect Biden in a lot of ways. So when you say about him pardoning him, yeah, but if there is implications that Biden did broke the law, then we can speculate that possibly that if he's president, yes, he could pardon his son. But what if he's not?
Yeah.
You know, and if he
Well,
even if
if
he
you know
does,
your son, if you know your child is under investigation and the investigation may survive your presidency, like let's say, for instance, it's still going on in 2024, which it almost certainly will be. If you know there's even the slimmest chance that your child might be convicted, you can pardon him for what he's being charged with before you leave office. That way you would destroy any case from progressing.
I understand that. Yes, he could. But if he's implicated himself, he's going to have a harder time doing that. No, wouldn't you agree?
Well, I would say absolutely, but wasn't there rumors that Trump investigated pardoning himself? So couldn't that apply to Biden as well?
I don't think we can pardon ourselves. I mean, I think that's a far stretch.
How do you know?
I don't. You're right. I
Well,
don't know. But again, it's
yeah,
all speculation. That's the whole thing. But back to the original question. Yes, it does affect Biden. In what way? I'm not sure. And I don't want to say one way or
right.
the other. You see a lot of people in the comments. Trump's going to jail, Biden's going to jail, whatever. We don't know for a fact. We're just guessing.
Yeah, I don't.
I would
Yeah,
love to have
I
all
would
the evidence
also
to sit
ask
down and look
this.
at it.
Right. I would also ask this, considering that most of the corruption involving Hunter Biden involves the Ukraine, and with Biden giving the Ukrainians so much help to the point that if it wasn't for President Biden himself, the Ukraine would probably not be a nation right now. So any investigation against Hunter trying to pursue records out of the Ukraine, you would have to assume that they're not going to cooperate because they have so much favor owed to President Biden.
Possibly. But if that's the
Yeah.
case, that makes it even worse then. I mean, the
How
fact
so?
that that Hunter got all that money from Ukraine and now we're giving them billions of dollars, that does make it worse. It just the looks of it makes it worse. Like that almost, I don't want to say implicates, but it suggests that you're paying back, a favor that you got, you know?
Could be. And I get you saying, but at the end of the day, in court, you got to always be able to prove things. Like folks will say, it looks crazy that Biden got more votes than Trump, or better yet, more votes than Obama. It looks funny, but at the end of the day, you actually got to prove that. And I get what you're saying is that it would look like there's some sort of quid pro quo going on. But if
Well,
you
we already
can't
know he
prove
did a
it,
quid pro quo in Ukraine. I mean, he said he admitted himself in video.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, go ahead.
it doesn't look good for him. That's my whole point.
Right,
It's not
right.
going to look good. There's nothing that's going to make it look good.
Fair enough. And that's what would have to be, I suppose, litigated in court. But just because something doesn't look good doesn't mean that the prosecutor is going to be able to win their case. But I do get your point. It does not look
Absolutely.
good. I'm just making the case that with the Ukrainians receiving so much aid from the Biden administration, I would not expect them to help or aid prosecutors going after Hunter Biden in any way, shape, or form. Because Biden has pretty much kept them on the map as a nation.
I mean, you're not wrong, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm sure there are people within the Ukrainian government that don't like Biden. There's always a possibility of that. They just want to see the world burn. Who knows? I don't know
Yeah, it
what
could
people
be.
have and what they don't have. I don't know what they had before Russia invaded. What evidence they have prior to that they already received. So that's a factor as well. So who knows?
I can't understand. No, I get what you're saying about there may be Ukrainian government officials that do not like the Bidens, but I can't understand anybody that would hate the Biden in Ukraine, at least anybody that would hate the Biden so much that they would go after him based on what he's did to help them from a Russian invasion. That whole country would be the product of Russia right now if it wasn't for Biden sending them so much help, weapons, surveillance, money, and all of that. So Biden has really kept them from literally ceasing to exist. So yeah, I cannot imagine any government official at this point hating Biden's or the Biden family so much that they would still pursue anything.
People hate for any reason. And it's not just Biden giving them the money; it's Congress giving them the money too. So,
Yeah. But that's here though. I'm talking about over in the Ukraine. I'm saying that
right? I
regardless of
know.
what, yeah. I'm
I get
saying
what
that
you're.
in the
Yeah, no.
Ukraine, they should have forgave him for any damn thing because without him, they would have ceased to exist.
Yeah, but we both know that sometimes when people have hate in their hearts, it goes beyond any help you give them. They don't care. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be deep. That would be some deep because I tell
And
you,
there's
there are
always people
people
like
out
that.
there. Yeah, I agree with you, but I'll tell you this: there are people out there that I hold grudges with for years. But if you save me from being killed, I'm probably going to forgive you. I mean, I can't imagine hating you for something that is so bad that even if you stop me from being killed, I'm going to still hate you. So that's a deep seated grudge you're talking about. But I'll give you the last word. I got to move it on.
Well, no, I mean, like I said, it's definitely going to cause problems for Biden.
Yeah.
What and if any, I don't know. And I don't want to say for sure one way or the other because, again, I don't have the evidence. None of us do. We can speculate, but it's definitely going to be an issue for him, uh,
Well,
probably in
it
2024
and it
or
certainly
sooner.
gives us, yeah, and it certainly gives us something to divert from, because right now it's always Trump. So with the Biden side going through something, you're going to hear it all over right wing news. Twisted 77, appreciate you coming through.
Anytime.
Did I miss you last night? What did it say here? Did I miss you last night? Were you on the live at 7? Brit, I can't pronounce the name there, but no, I was not on last night. I've got a laptop that went out, so all of my graphics and things like that I like to do on my 7 p.m. broadcast, I got to use a backup computer and all that. So last night I was not on. People in Florida hate Biden while he is there helping them. You know something, sup in the comments. That is, I don't get that. And you are correct in pointing that out as a good counterpoint. Whereas President Biden is currently on the ground in Florida, helping them out during one of the worst times in their lives. Hurricane Ian and all the destruction, particularly in the Fort Myers, Naples, Florida area. I've been down there a few times. Beautiful area, by the way, on the southwestern tip of Florida. Yeah, and he's down there really helping them out financially on the spot with FEMA and all of that, to the point where even Governor DeSantis is giving him credit. Yeah, and they're still down there like, let's go, Brandon. No, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. I don't want to hear about how gas went from $2 a gallon to $4 a gallon under Biden when your entire house has been swept away. You can't even put gas in the car because it's no longer in the damn parking lot. It's down the street, upside down, and you complain. No, I don't get that. But you are correct. People in Florida still do not like Biden. Mark Time, welcome back to the program. Mark Time, good afternoon to you. If it lets you come through. Iron Mike says that's not help. What do you mean by that's not help? You don't think that FEMA, which has to be approved by President Biden, you don't give credit at all for that? Look at Puerto Rico under the Trump administration. They're still complaining that under Trump administration, he did not allocate enough FEMA funds to them. So Biden going and allocating FEMA funds to Florida, how are you going to say that's not help? That doesn't make sense to me. All right, let's try Brian. Mark Time. We'll try it again. Biden understands that Puerto Rico is one of ours. I think Trump understands that too. It's just he doesn't view Puerto Rico the same. Brian, good afternoon.
My man, how's it going, handsome?
It's going all right. I'm trying to find out what Hunter Biden is going through. They're announcing that they may have enough to charge him now. Do you believe that will hurt his dad?
Nah, it ain't gonna hurt Joe. Joe will distance himself. He'll throw Hunter out with the bathwater. They're not gonna stick anything on Joe. Joe's the active president. Ain't no president ever gonna go to jail. They might get indicted, but it ain't never gonna go to no fruition. We don't put our presidents, former or current, in jail. And if you do, the next president come down the line is gonna pardon them. I don't care what side of the party they're on. That's all part of the left wing or right wing. All part of the same bird, brother.
I gotta stop you and ask you. Let's say for shits and giggles, even though you and I don't believe this will happen, but for shits and giggles, they tie Hunter Biden to President Biden, and they are about to sentence President Biden and give him time. Very similar to what happened with Sheriff Joe Arpaio down in Arizona. He was about to be sentenced. You're telling me that if Trump was to win in 2024, being the next president, as you say, from the other side of the aisle, you think he would pardon Joe Biden?
After conviction, 100%.
Wow.
100%.
Wow.
I just don't believe that a president will hurt. And Trump, not being the normal president now, he may very well say, "You did the time, you did the crime, you did the time." But it's hard for me to swallow the fact that any president would ever turn and not pardon another president regardless of the crime. And let's say out there eating babies. I mean, it's just kind of hard to believe that that's a really select club of men right there, that if you'll notice, every time one gets out of office, they all hang out together.
Okay, you said eating babies. Elaborate on that.
No, I'm just saying, unless they're caught eating babies or something, man. I mean, on
Oh,
live
okay,
TV. I'm just saying, it's hard to
okay,
believe that
all right.
that exclusive club of gentlemen is not going to give the gentleman before them the courtesy of a pardon, even if they're
Okay.
guilty of whatever. I just don't think that's an exclusive club, man. 46 people in that club, and ain't before
So
them
let
left
me ask you
alive.
this
So
then. So let me present it to you this way. If you believe that Trump would pardon Biden if Biden was convicted, why do you believe he was pushing so hard at his rally suggesting that Hillary Clinton be locked up?
Hillary wasn't president. Hillary
Well,
was a
she ran
threat.
for president.
She
Yeah,
was a
but he
threat.
was saying
Hey,
she yeah, yeah, but he was saying she should be locked up after he had defeated her and she was no longer a threat. He was still saying she should be locked up. In fact,
look,
they still say that now.
Tim, he was talking tall shit. He said, if I get elected, you going to jail. Hillary's still free
Right.
4 years later, 6 years later. It just ain't gonna happen. Again, exclusive club of gentlemen, and she just happened to be the first lady in that exclusive club of gentlemen. I just don't.
So
I
what
mean,
you're
you just don't
saying
go after. You don't go after presidential families. I just don't believe they do that.
So what you're saying is, because you said tall shit. So what you're saying is, when Trump told Hillary Clinton, "If I'm president, you're going to jail," he knew at that time that was a bunch of shit and it was had no chance of happening.
At 100%, but it rallied his base to hate Hillary. I'm his
Mm.
base. It rallied people. I have my own reasons for the Clintons. It ain't got nothing to do with what Trump said, but it rallied the base, and that's what they do. I mean, that's Biden does it. Obama did it. I mean, I'm a two-time Obama voter, brother. So, I mean, he rallied me when he was running for president the first time and re-election.
So how do you rally behind something that you know it's not true when it's coming out of your mouth? If that's the case, Herschel Walker doesn't have any kids. How does that rally you?
Well, I mean, you can prove Herschel Walker got children. But some of the stuff that they say about Biden and Hillary, you can't prove that. We know what happened in Benghazi, but you can't prove it.
Yeah.
I
Similar
mean,
to
that's just the truth of the matter.
okay. All right. Okay. I've never heard it stated in this manner, but I mean, just like you, we couldn't prove at the time that if Trump won, Hillary Clinton wasn't going to be locked up. But you're telling me you were aware, or you were consciously aware that even when he said it, it was a lie and it was never going to happen.
100%. Look,
And
I
that
ain't never
rallied
been
you.
one to tell you Trump don't lie. Trump lied both sides of his face,
Does that
but he was a
matter when
good
you're picking a
businessman.
candidate? Does that matter when you're picking a candidate that they're lying, that they're dishonest like that?
You know what? Honestly, everybody lies that's in the government. It don't matter from the secretary that answers the phone at the post office all the way through to the president of the United States.
So how do you feel when you say, and I agree with you that lying happens all over politics, but how do you feel when you suggest that lying happens all over politics, from the secretary that answers the phone all the way to the president of the United States? And so many people claim that they voted Trump in because he was not a typical politician, but you're grouping him
Correct.
in and saying that he exhibits the same bad behavior as a typical politician.
You don't get to the highest office in the nation if you don't play the game.
So
That's just politics. I mean,
he
he
got
went in as a
elected.
businessman.
Okay, but I'm always under the impression that he's not an insider, he's not a politician. But you're saying that he got in there, played the game, and was doing everything what typical politicians do.
100%. That's what
Okay.
they do.
Well,
100%.
I mean,
Everybody does that. I mean, everybody in politics does that, brother. Sorry, a little loud. Everybody in
okay.
politics does that, though. They all have to. You don't get a second term if you're corruptible. If you're not corruptible. Trump wasn't corruptible, so he couldn't get a second term. But now he's going to try and come from the outside again, and mark my words, they'll do something to keep him from running for president. That's
Well,
just he's a danger to what they got going on, because he's not your typical politician, but he does play the game well.
how do you believe he's a danger to what's going on in Washington? Give me an example.
I think it's that mouth, brother. That mouth and them thumbs. He doesn't know some things you don't expose, even though it needs exposing. He
Like
hasn't
what?
learned that.
Give
Still
me some
hasn't learned that.
examples. Give me some examples of something that Trump exposed that he was never supposed to expose.
Uh, okay. I'm going to say the corruption within the House of Representatives and the corruption within the Senate. When he first got in the Senate, he exposed Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, all the people on the right that were snakes in the grass. And they come after him, and then they realize, wait a minute, we've got to work with this guy. He's the president. We got to kiss his butt now because he's the president. But no sooner than they got a chance to get him out of office, then they all started talking tall trash again about him. But he exposed their hypocrisy, exposed their corruption as being in the Senate and doing what was self-serving for themselves.
Okay, so what I
that's,
don't
you know,
Okay, so what I don't get, taking what you said, where I have confusion with is, what good is exposing something if you don't get rid of it? I mean,
yeah,
if a yeah, what I'm saying is, if a Terminator, not a Terminator, but an exterminator, if an exterminator comes to my house and exposes the fact that I have roaches, and then he just walks out, what good was that? The roaches are still eating.
What you're saying is correct. Oh, shit. And I don't know what that man said that was worthy of that, but they banned him. Fuck. I don't. Listen, folks, let me make something clear. I don't ban, I don't block, I don't censor. But for some reason, Brian in the box just got banned. And I welcome Brian back anytime you see me on. I don't know why that happened. I didn't hear anything he said that was worthy of that. But for some reason, TikTok just stated that they removed him. I really hate when that happens to my guests. I always make it clear I'm 100% MAGA friendly in here. MAGA is my preferred audience. So come in here, state your point, but there's nothing your humble correspondent can do if the damn app decides to do something like that. So I do apologize for what happened. I didn't have a damn problem with anything that man was saying. We may have countered on some points here or there. That's fine. I don't dominate the box to the point where you have to agree with anything I say. I make it clear. I'll put you on and give you plenty of time to express your point, whether it's something I agree with or totally disagree with. I don't ban, I don't block, and I don't talk down to my guests. By the way, follow the channel, folks. Tap the screen, get your boy up to 10,000 likes. Brian, if you are still watching, you're always welcome back. Apologize for what the damn app did to you. Absolutely had no play in it whatsoever. That it's a shame they did that. I'm going to go back to the box, though. That type of stuff disgusts me. Mark time.
What's up, Tim?
Back to the program. Good
Nice to
afternoon.
see you again. I just got off like a long-term ban for nonsense. I actually emailed TikTok and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're good." So
Well, let me say this real quick for Mark. If you're watching, appeal that block, because I don't think there's.
yeah,
I'm just gonna. That's my advice. Appeal that. But go ahead,
right.
Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I had a problem with stuff he was saying, but I don't think any of it was ban worthy. So that, I mean, he didn't like
Give me something
for
you had a problem with. You can use synonyms or whatever, but give me
right.
something that you had issues with that he stated.
I mean, it's like not even like subtle. The the Q references and all that. The cabal of 43 people or whatever. That sort of nonsense. That's what he's talking about. And that's what he meant about like presidents pardoning each other and taking care of families and because there's many Trump photos with Epstein, there are just as many with Clinton. And I think the difference between our sides is like if you find something like that, then take them all down.
Right.
But anyway, yeah. So, and sort of the same thing with Twisted, your first guest. Like, there is definitely some accuracy issues with a lot of these statements. Like, even back to your conversation on Ukraine and like Hunter Biden's role with Burisma versus Biden sending funds there for the war with Russia. You're talking about a private institution versus the government, and would a Ukraine DOJ launch an investigation into Hunter Biden the same way that our DOJ is. I mean, probably not. One, they're busy right now.
Yeah,
They got other problems to deal with.
they are very busy
And
right
two,
now.
like, yeah, maybe Zelensky feels like he owes Biden a favor because Biden has very deftly managed NATO. I've been as a huge Biden critic. And someone who can very easily say FJB, like he has handled this very well and led NATO very well. The fact that Russia is retreating and did a national draft, which like
Right.
decimated the morale of their citizens, and citizens are fleeing and all of this stuff. Like this is honestly, it's frankly amazing what's happened. And I know the topic. The easiest thing for Americans to complain about is why are we sending all this money when you have water issues in Jackson, Mississippi, and Flint, Michigan, and there's homeless on the streets. But those same people have never done a damn thing for Jackson, Mississippi, water or homelessness. So,
I've
so I
said
have
that, I've said the same thing several times that
right.
anytime money goes somewhere where people don't want, well, take care of the homeless, or what about
It's like you
veterans?
don't want
And
to
it's
take care of the
like,
homeless. You don't give a damn about veterans.
exactly. I've said that before, that if this problem wasn't here and we tried to help the homeless, you'd be asking who's going to pay for it.
Right.
So you're just using this
Exactly.
as an excuse right now. I've said that several times as
Oh
well.
yeah.
But let me
For
ask you this then. If, let's say, for instance, President Biden didn't send any money or assistance to the Ukraine and just let them fall to Russia, which would mean that Russia would have gotten stronger and larger under
right.
President Biden's watch. How do you think the Republicans and his critics will respond to that?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I kind of got lost in your question.
Yeah. I'm saying that if President Biden had not been sending money and weapons to the Ukraine and just simply let them fall to Putin, Russia would then have gotten larger and stronger under
Right.
Biden's watch.
Right.
How would the Republicans be responding to the fact that Putin has gotten stronger and acquired more land under the watch of Biden?
Now I'm with you. Yes, exactly. And it's like the Republicans would have something to complain about anyway. They'd be bitching and moaning about letting one of our allies fall. It's always their guy. It's whatever serves them in the moment. And if folks who are listening haven't learned that lesson, that it doesn't actually matter what happens in reality. What happens is how they spin it, and what is Tucker Carlson going to say at 8 p.m. that day or the next day. That's just how it is. It doesn't, like, Biden could cancel student debt or not cancel student debt. If Biden built a border wall, they would have an issue with it. It's just like it's more about the partisan politics than it is anything, with the merit of Joe Biden's decisions, right? Like the issue is that he did it. The issue is that Democrats did it. And even with like the Hunter Biden thing, like do I think Joe Biden would pardon Hunter Biden? Maybe. Do I think Dark Brandon?
Wait a minute. Maybe if your child
Well,
was in the
hold on.
exact same, maybe
I
really
was, I was gonna say Joe Biden might pardon Hunter Biden, but Dark Brandon
might.
wouldn't. Dark Brandon's a savage, bro.
Ain't that fucking savage? You 80 years old when your son, you were 80 years old, you have been president of the United States, you have nothing to lose, and you gonna leave
Yeah.
your son in federal prison? Might? Maybe? No. 100 to 1 odds. 100 to 1 odds.
I'm sorry, I just think that would be really funny. I'd be like, oh man, this dude is savage.
He ain't that fucking savage.
He ain't that savage. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. The funny thing about this is, like, this DOJ has been pretty leak proof, and so they announced this as part of it, right? It was like we're getting closer to potentially having charges. And 2 weeks ago, Merrick Garland announced that we're in the 60-day before the election window where indictments don't usually fall down. I think that was like Comey's policy, right? Who he also went back on. And so to me, them announcing this news is that they do not view Hunter Biden as a political entity, which just again speaks to like the quality of the DOJ, because they would not announce this. The Matt Gaetz stuff is on pause. The Trump indictment stuff is on pause, or at least like they're not going to announce before the.
So let me ask you this though. Before the last guest I had, who unfortunately got banned, before him, we had the other guest on that was talking about Ukraine. He's in the comments stating that he still wants to know what you found inaccurate about what he stated.
About the cabal of 38 people who are all in leagues with each other and would pardon each other. What issue do I have with that?
Now, I believe that was the last caller. This is the one before that. We were talking about Hunter Biden in
Oh,
Ukraine,
Twisted.
but
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yes,
Oh, I mean, it was just like the complaints about like the funding, and it was just like an inaccurate description of how that works, which is why I started off with Burisma is a private company, and the
okay,
funding that we're sending is to the government, and so it's like, I mean, are private companies for us involved in politics? Yeah, that's called lobbying, but I mean, those just to say that like the ignorant people like spread it out to just like the word Ukraine of like, oh, they got, Hunter Biden got money from Ukraine. Joe Biden is sending money to Ukraine, and that is like a very simplistic to the point of ignorance description of what happened. So that's the
okay.
issue.
And this is one where I am willing to personally admit ignorance. I don't know a whole lot about what Hunter Biden is being accused of. I've heard enough of it, but there's certainly a hell of a lot more I would like to know. So this is one where I can't get on here and pretend like I'm the
Sure.
know-it-all. I'm learning a lot from you guys because I don't know enough on this.
Twisted, you were literally talking about Hunter Biden taking money from Burisma and them sharing a bank account and all this other nonsense. And I'm just saying it's not the same thing. So like, figure it out, dude.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I don't know about consequences for Joe Biden. I feel like it is kind of a political nightmare if he were to pardon him. So in that, I understand what you're saying of like that's a father, that's his son.
Yeah.
But his son is also clearly troubled and has been a nuisance to him, like with all the painting stuff. Like they're answering questions
Right.
about him, and again, that's not a reason for like a father to let his son go to jail. But I mean,
No.
I
Well,
could
let me
in the
let me give
realm.
you my spiel on it. Let me give you
Yeah,
my spiel on it. First of all, it's 2022. It's just about 2020. Okay, hang on. Somebody's on my anyway. It's almost 2023 now. So the first thing the Hunter Biden's legal team is going to do is delay this shit as long as possible, straight out of Trump's playbook. Delay, delay, delay in hopes of a friendlier government in the future. Well, what Hunter Biden will do is delay it as long as he can, at least into the 2024 elections. If Joe Biden loses in November of 2024, he's still president until January of 2025. So he could pardon his son at that time. Or if he wins, he now no longer has to worry about running for office ever again. He can pardon him right after the 2024 election. And even though you said it'll be political baggage, he's already won a second term or he's already lost. There's not much else it can cause. So just delay it until November of 2024, which it'll still be in court by then, no, undoubtedly anyway, and then just pardon the guy.
Oh yeah, nope. I 100% agree with everything that you said, and I am totally like aligned with that. It's already like a sort of matter of like nonsense to me that the Tucker Carlson or whatever Fox mentions of Hunter Biden. You know,
Yeah.
we're all accused of having Trump derangement syndrome when they clearly have like Hunter Biden derangement syndrome. Like
We
there's
hear it
like,
all the time.
what about his laptop? It's like, oh, you mean like the Comey email scandal that didn't happen this time around, and didn't save your boy from himself. So yeah, sorry about it, but um, you caught this L. So instead of trying to pin it on this drug addict like wannabe petulant son, like okay, throw Hunter Biden in jail. I don't give a fuck. Like,
Yeah, he's never going to. Yeah, he's never going to
at,
jail. But look,
at,
Mark, time I got to move it on. But yeah,
at
there's
least,
no chance of Hunter Biden during the day.
right. At least if he were in jail, he would stop giving Biden like bad headlines. So
Yeah.
let's see
Well,
if
I don't know.
Dark Brandon cuts his son off.
Well, as Joe Biden once said, you can't fuck with Joe Biden. So
Yeah,
I
no one
gotta
fucks
go.
with the Biden. That was pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. Even as a hater, that was kind of
Especially for a man with dementia that doesn't know where he's at. Yeah, that was bad.
yeah, yeah. All right. Have a good day, Tim.
You too, you too. And that's what I
Say that. Good talk with Mark Time, by the way. But I say that all the time is that folks keep saying that Joe Biden has dementia and he don't know where the hell he's at. And then he comes up and gives you a speech in red with Marines in the background. He doesn't stutter one bit. or he gets caught on a hot mic saying you can't fuck with Joe Biden. That guy is in his faculties. He may be not as sharp as a 79-year-old that he was as a 59-year-old. I don't disagree with that at all. However, if Joe Biden showed up to put his name on the dotted line to purchase a high rise or to get involved in a big, huge deal, I don't think there's any banker in the world that would run from him under the guise that he's not mentally competent to sign the contract. They would do business with this guy right and left. He is not out of his mind like that. There are plenty of Republican senators and Republican Congress people that have to call Joe Biden on a daily basis. Governor Ron DeSantis is a perfect example of someone that needed to recently deal with President Biden. Let's see if Ron DeSantis says that while I was talking to the guy, he didn't know where the hell he was at. When I asked Joe Biden for FEMA assistance, he had to read an answer off the teleprompter. We're not hearing that from the actual politicians that have to deal with President Biden every day. If he was out of his mind, you don't think some of them would say that? I sat in the Oval Office and the guy didn't even know where his desk was. You're not hearing that from anybody, even his competition that has to run against him. They're not claiming this stuff. So clearly old grandpa knows a lot more than you guys want to give him credit for. Bushmaster back again. Good afternoon. Bushmaster. I don't know if we talked before, Bushmaster.
Yeah, we have.
Okay. Do not comply. I love the tag you got there. What's going on? What do you think? You think Hunter Biden is hurting his dad?
Absolutely.
In what way?
Well, anything negative, like with your son, is going to look negative towards you. Because, like, for me, for example, like the negative stuff my father did, hell, I got blamed for it. I'm like, well, I'm getting blamed for what he did.
Well, I mean, I'm often hearing folks on my program say, why should we have to pay reparations for what our grandparents did? Are you sure that the kids have to pay for what the parents did? Because that's a hell of a road to go down. I'm just asking that question.
I say we all need reparations. Everybody.
So you think that if Hunter Biden has gotten involved in some nefarious activities, it's going to lead people to believe that his dad was doing it all? I mean, you've never had a parent that was an upstanding citizen and just had a bad child, a bad seed. Does that have to reflect on the parent?
Yeah, it will. Like you was talking about, though, if he goes to jail, you think he'll pardon him?
Would you not pardon your child if your child committed a finance